Hello, Cody, can I help you?
We want the police urgently. Somebody's been murdered. We found him on the floor tied up. Oh, there's blood everywhere.
But he's not breathing at all, is he?
No, crud. Face has been kicked in. It's a hell of a mess, yeah.
Don't touch anything at all.
Yeah.
Do you know who the person is?
What's his name? John, what? John Williams.
It's Paul Guys.
How are we doing? You okay?
Yeah, not too bad. We've got
a nasty, looks like murder. Well, it is a murder. Code blue.
Okay, what are the circumstances?
Basically, the occupant.
It's found tied up, face down, in his living room.
Sorry.
Yeah, tied up to the rear and feet.
Right, blimey.
A 67-year-old man has been found dead. This is Code Blue, a real-life murder investigation captured in real time as it unfolds.
If there's a murder on the loose, we have to act very quickly and make sure members of the public aren't at any risk or danger. What we have to do immediately is think of the families to make sure that we do everything we can in terms of the investigation, identify how their loved ones have died, and ultimately identify who's responsible and bring them to justice.
South Wales Police detectives have the task of finding the killer.
Yeah, I've got the briefing now.
Right, guys. Sorry, he's got injuries to the back.
Yep.
Injuries to the back.
Welcome, everybody, to our investigation into the murder of John Williams, also known as Jack, who is 67. He's lying on the living room floor, face down. He's got some facial injuries, it appears, and there's a blood scene there. Most importantly, his hands are tied behind his back with blue twine. We had no idea of a motive other than there is a significant amount of cannabis within the scene in small deal bags. The premises has been searched, potentially ransacked. Were they looking for money? We really don't know. An awful lot to be done. It's really about the detail to build this picture about his movements. I'm sure the answer's out there somewhere. It's a Cat A, it's undetected, and as things stand, we've got no suspects. This is a particularly brutal attack on a vulnerable elderly man in his own home. There's a lot of blood at the scene. There's a trail from the hallway through into the living room.
Hello there, we're from the police, we are.
I've lived here all my life. I've never heard of nothing like this. Terrible, innit?
I know.
All right. Trying to build up a bit of a picture of his life, what sort of life he had.
Well, you got a brother, David.
You know him very well, then.
I know. I used to drink with Jack. We used to drink in the New Inn years ago. But Jack, I don't think Jack has been out for at least 20 years. He's very loner.
He was always really kind. He was the uncle I would spend most of my time with. He used to look after me and spoil me, he did. He used to take me to the markets, and I always remember coming home with sweets, more sweets than my parents would like.
If ever I wanted any advice on anything, I used to go down and see him, and he wasn't just my brother, he was my best friend.
We're going to see the family now, but unfortunately it's one of those situations where we have to break to them the bad news that Jack's obviously died as a result of a violent attack he suffered during the assault. So it's difficult to give that message. But again, really sorry to be meeting you in such circumstances. Jack's body was found Saturday afternoon. In the circumstances, clearly it's somebody who was violent. We don't know whether it was somebody who was known to Jack himself. At the moment, I'm sorry to say, we don't know who's responsible. There's an indication, again, that there may have been drugs involved.
I heard yesterday that there was drugs found in his house.
Right. No ideas or no inkling of that previously?
No,
whenever we've been down there, there's never been any sign of drug use or drug paraphernalia in it or anything like that.
The reason we will be exploring the drugs isn't to try and discredit him in any sort of way or anything like that. It will be because it's a potential motive. That's the way we're looking at this. So again, we've got to look in detail at everything. We've had some further information this afternoon from the pathologist that Jack suffered blunt head trauma. So injuries to the face and head consistent with an assault.
I just hope you find them.
We'll do all we can, honestly. That's our aim as well. You've got a team of about 40 people in Crockett Police Station at the moment who are looking, and they all care as deeply as you do. We'll be doing all we can to catch them, whoever's responsible.
Detectives have an early lead on people who called on Jack's next-door neighbour, asking about him just 2 days before he was found dead.
Is that camera on there?
Do you know John?
I know him a little bit.
Is that his house or is the next one in, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
It looks like we've got a neighbour near to Mr Williams' house who's got CCTV looking out towards the front of his property.
Somebody went past there. Can we just...
He came from over that side of the road.
Yeah, can we just go back there?
Yeah, of course. There they are now. And then she comes up here. Let's go back a little bit.
Poor guys.
Very suspicious behaviour. She's sort of hiding around the side. If a car goes past, she's hiding behind the car. So there's you know, there's definitely something going on. Thanks, boss. Ta.
We've got certainly what looks like 2 males and a female acting very suspiciously around Jack's house at around Thursday night into Friday morning. So we're keen to get that download and really see where that takes us.
So everybody got it where we are? That's looking this way, towards the scene.
Press play and you'll see the person's crossing this side of the road and they'll actually walk past, point, turn and go back. So he's pointing and they've gone back.
At that point there's 2 people.
Yeah.
So the male here carrying the bag looks as if he goes into the house.
Yeah.
She's in a long khaki coat with black sleeves and she waits outside. So there's 1 in there already, we think.
Yeah.
That's the 3rd person there who joins the female. Right, 2
going in.
So 3 come out.
Yeah.
Okay, if you can get that typed up into the room, that's really important. Yeah. But no, thanks, Steve. That's very helpful.
Jack was a very hard-working, had worked all his life. He was a carpenter by trade. Last time I saw him, Emma came down the house with me, chatting. He said to Emma, "Are you driving yet?" She said, "No, I can't afford the lessons yet." And he reached into his wallet and just gave us some money straight away.
He was just asking me whether I started my lessons and whether I needed any more money to start. I said, "No, don't be silly," but I didn't want to take any more off him. He said to me, "Oh, you may as well take it now because I won't be around forever." Mum came running in. She didn't even need to say anything. And she said it was my Uncle Jack. And I just knew something wasn't right. I knew he'd gone. And I don't know why. At that moment, I didn't know what to feel. It didn't feel real.
Mr. Williams, the victim, is going to be moved to the mortuary for a full Home Office post-mortem, where hopefully we'll get a full determination of cause of death. This is why we become detectives. This is why we join the police in principle, is to investigate the most serious crimes. Mr. Williams has been brutally murdered. He's a father, he's a brother, he's got family out there that care for him deeply, and we need to get justice for him.
It's 7 o'clock. I'm Claire Pearson. Police have launched a murder investigation after a man's body was discovered at a house in Swansea on the weekend. 67-year-old John Williams was found at his home on Pentraqueith Road in Bonamine on Saturday lunchtime.
We need to look in detail at Jack's background and really piece together who he was in the hope of trying to identify a potential motive.
Just walking in here, it's quite dusty. Quite clearly only one person living here. With the bedroom upstairs, the only one used. No female clothing here. And then obviously you've got his little business on the side in the attic, which, yeah, that was a surprise. If I'd walked in here, I wouldn't have expected to find that up in the attic.
Who's this one off? Let it run till they all come out. And they all three come out together there. 1, 2, 3.
The team have uncovered CCTV footage of 3 people behaving suspiciously near the murder scene. One of the detectives thinks he may recognise the woman in the long khaki coat.
Yeah, I've been speaking with the DS. He's viewed the CCTV. The description matches that of a woman called Gemma Owens. Gemma is known to associate with a male called Jonathan Don, who's certainly got a violent history and could be of real interest to us. Certainly our main line of inquiry.
Jonathan Don has a history with drugs. With cannabis found at Jack's house, this is now the investigation's main focus.
Don't know how many people within the community knew he was growing. Certainly his family didn't. Looks like he is potentially a dealer who's been flying under the radar, even though he's a 67-year-old male. What we had thrown into the mix, a number of names, a number of suggestions about people who could be responsible. Now, it was a thought process only. Good shout from you at the back there that you put 2 names into the mix, Jonathan Don and Gemma Owens. And they've got some intelligence to suggest certainly Don has been targeting cannabis deals and cannabis grows and assaulting growers and then either stealing drugs or money, or both. Thursday night, the next door neighbour opens the front door and standing in front of her is a female who she describes as having dark hair, centre parting with a piercing in the upper lip. That female says, "Do you know whose car that is over the road?" She says, "Yeah, it's Jack's next door." She looks towards Jack's door and sees a male, says the male is knocking on Jack's door. The information is that she'd recognise her again. We are now going to look at a defined lineup. We're going to include in that defined lineup Gemma Owens. We need to get that break. That's where the evidence is going to start coming. So thanks, everybody. Focused. Good luck today.
We do have a description of somebody we know was at or nearby to the victim's address on the night. I've now input that into the system. I'll find 11 other photographs that match her description, and then I'll be inviting the witness in to see if she can identify that person. So hopefully this will result in our first arrest. The lady who you saw on that night, have you ever seen her before? No. Do you know who she is? Okay. And there'll be photographs of 12 people. I'd like you to take a look at each of them and see if you can identify from those photographs if the female who knocked your door and spoke to you is the person there. Okay? You happy with that? This is very significant information. She was confident and she went straight to one image and she identified that to be the person who was outside her home address.
The fine lineup's been done with the witness. They've identified Gemma Owens, so she's been raised as suspect. Her association with this Jonathan Don, very significant to us when we look at the kind of person he is, his previous convictions. So both have been raised as suspect now, along with this unknown third male at this time.
Based on our information and intelligence, Team 3 are now going back to that address.
With police scouring the city, there's a report that officers have spotted Don and Owen.
Just had information there's a sighting of a car. We think Don is driving the car, or certainly in the vehicle.
Can we say... Oh, Jesus, hold on, mate. Can someone pick that up?
John, can you just direct him, not to blue light into the area at a minute, and just be on standby, and then I can talk people in?
Officers have stopped the car. Don is nowhere to be found, but Gemma Owen is being held by detectives.
But you're with Gemma Owen now, and Don is outstanding, is that right?
I think in the That's correct, yeah. Obviously we've done outstanding. You've only got one in at the moment, so we've got one to take.
Was it a confirmed sighting of him, or do we just believe it to have been him?
They're not seeing him. No, confirmed sighting.
In terms of the loss of Dunn, do we get direction of travel?
No, nothing at the moment. We're trying to establish the last location. I think it's when they've gone to approach the car. They weren't aware that he wasn't in.
So she's inside the vehicle, she's tried to make off, but we believe him to be in the vicinity. We don't know the direction of travel at the moment, though.
We've got one in custody. You know, it was almost two, but we've got one now that's run off and has gone to ground.
Owen is wearing what appears to be the same distinctive long khaki coat as the woman in the CCTV footage.
And she got white Nike trainers with a pink in it, light blue jeans, but a khaki green jacket with black sleeves.
What length is it?
Long jacket.
Yeah, brilliant.
You know, which is
fantastic.
I'm arresting you on suspicion of that murder. You have to say anything, but in my harm defence, if you do not mention one question, send them literally by court. Anything you do say may be given evidence. Understand?
He can't have gone that far. So we've got the helicopter up, we've got dog handler in the area, we've got officers now trying to contain the scene. Could be the systematic searching now, slowly, hopefully, start chipping away at that, and hopefully we'll get him in as well now.
Yeah,
54, 55 miles.
Police, mate! Police, open the door, mate, the door! We're definitely in the right area here, mate, 100%. And we'll see what comes out of these three addresses now. Police! Officers been tied up!
Oh, come on, now, come on.
Right, this is your last chance now. Come to the door, show yourselves that the door's going in. Stand back! Police armed with taser. Make yourself known.
Just that cupboard door, but is that cupboard door?
Yeah.
Go on.
The door to my left as well.
Yeah, just be on that one.
Negative so far.
Live incident, male person has run into the fields behind Heel Emrys, carrying a machete. He is a person that is wanted by the police at this moment.
Just had a live incident come in of a male with a machete running into the fields behind Heel Emrys, and he's the person wanted by police.
Okay. We'll make a way to that to get location to you.
Just behind the football field, next to Heel Emrys.
Now we can get the dog handler down there as well.
It's a negative, so it negates our inquiry. I just wanted to update the eyes all.
We'll reconvene back in the van. If anything develops, we'll go from there. Thank you. Cheers. Thank you.
We've got to be realistic, and you know, and Edwin needs to get some sleep now. Edwin. Tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock. Edwin back in. Off we go again.
Detectives in Swansea are investigating the murder of pensioner Jack Williams. A manhunt is underway for the main suspect.
Thanks, everybody. Some really good work done yesterday. Unfortunately, Jonathan Don, our main suspect, managed to flee the scene. We ended up entering many properties last night, searching for him. But unfortunately, despite everybody's best efforts, we weren't able to locate him. Our two suspects, Don and Owens, are leading the offence. They're centrally involved. Don, especially. Owens is more on the periphery, but there is also, at the moment, a mystery third individual who we've raised as an unidentified suspect. We have no idea at the moment as to who that person may be.
I'll see you by the call from Harper Street this morning, the anonymous caller.
I am, but go on.
Basically, the text of the call was a male wanted for the murder in Pentreath. He's currently at a flat in Bryn Melyn. He's been on crack and cocaine tonight. He told me he went to the address in Pentreath to buy weed off the occupier. He tied him up and only hit him 3 or 4 times. He was in the flat an hour ago after escaping police in Penlan.
Clearly, we need to identify and speak to that individual as a witness. The hunt for him now is #1 priority.
Detectives have traced and spoken to the anonymous caller who saw Jonathan Don late last night.
On Monday, he speaks to him, and he basically says, do you want to buy some green? I got some green for you to buy, do you want some? Without being prompted, Johnny said, I did a job the other night. I immediately said, not Jack, yeah, him. He then went on to tell Johnny, you know he's dead, don't you? And Johnny just laughed and said, fuck off, he's not dead. I said, what's happened then? What did you do? He seemed panicked at this point and then said, words to the effect of, I pushed him in and the guy came at me, so I punched him 2 or 3 times. I tied his hands behind his back and ransacked the place. We had 20-odd ounces of weed. He then said, he can't be fucking dead, I only hit him 3 times. He then walked over to a cream-coloured cloth bag. He then opened the bag and pulled out a blue piece of rope. He then said, can you get DNA off this? I replied, are you fucking crazy? He then asked if I could take the bag with him and get rid of it. I replied, you're fucking mad, before storming out. All right, cheers, boss.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.
This account from the witness could lead detectives to a flat where Don might be hiding.
Dicey, just a quick one. Just gone through that now. You haven't missed anything. For me, the biggest priority we've got here is flat 4. If we listen to the evidence provided by one of the witnesses, we can go in and expect to find a bag containing some rope that has been used, some clothing. He's been back to that address after the offence, and there's an opportunity there's going to be forensic evidence. It's that property that is going to help forensically link Don, who's our main target here, is the priority. That is the best evidence at the moment we can get.
We've got a team now going to 4, 6 and 12, where Don is possibly here, or certainly been staying.
That's correct. Okay, Gemma, the reason you're here is because you've been arrested on suspicion of the murder of John Williams. Gemma, are you responsible for the murder of John Williams?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. Gemma, tell me everything you know about the murder of John Williams.
I didn't even know he was dead.
Tell me
He was
exactly what
alive
happened.
when I seen him.
Right. You explain to me what happened then? And everything else.
When we walked in, the guy was just on the floor. I didn't know what had happened. He just went there to get weed, like I said.
Well, talk to me about Jack's position and what you can see, exactly what you can see.
He's on the side.
Jack, on his side?
Yeah, his lip was bleeding.
Sorry?
His lip.
Lip was bleeding?
Yeah.
What else could you see?
Nothing else.
So what does Jack do next then? So he's mouthing, shouting, swearing?
Yeah.
What happens next?
Look. I said I'm going, I said I'm going to be on, and I went. And they all come behind me on.
We think Don had a machete last night, and if he's in the flat, he could be armed. So officers with tasers will go in first.
Okay, I'll stay on this axis here. Laura, if you can take the back there.
Yes, that's all the same.
Number 4, open the doors, please! Change! Please! Please!
I'm going right. Going right, left, yeah. Bathroom, kitchen. I can see the bathroom. Bathroom's clear. Covered. Yeah, going in. Clear. Happy. Flat clear. Flat floor clear.
So nothing from the original scout through looking for a person?
No, nothing.
So we haven't got any update there?
The TST have gone in, no people in there at all. So
no, but they haven't seen anything that jumps out? No. Or if they have, we haven't got it yet?
Outside Don's flat, detectives have come across a black Nissan Duke.
Looks like a 3 negatives. Guy in the car said if you give it Don, he was here yesterday, he hasn't come back.
So what he's saying in this car was used to go up and do the murder. It's linked to flat 10, it says.
Yeah.
While detectives examine the car, Gemma Owen is being questioned about how she and Don went to Jack's house.
How did you get there?
Car.
Okay. What car?
Not our car.
Sorry?
Not our car.
Whose car is it?
John's friend.
What sort of car is it?
A Duke.
Do you know what make a Duke is?
Nissan there?
And who's John's friend?
Yes, Simon. I don't know why he's asked about him.
So what we've got is that, yes, that's her. She pretty much corroborates the early CCTV that we've got in terms of their movements. She says male 1 is Johnny Don, that she attends with. Suspect 3, so male 2, is Simon. She doesn't know the surname. What she says is, and this is interesting for you and for the recovery phase here, is that they drive to the scene in Simon's car, which is a Nissan Duke, black in colour. That's useful. He's on the floor, he's bleeding from his mouth. There's no description as to how he's lying. There's no mention of his hands being tied at this point. He's definitely alive because he's mouthing, shouting and swearing back. Ultimately, that's all we've got for now, other than they leave the premises, they go back to the car, the Duke, and they leave. But she puts herself, Don and Simon at the scene. That Nissan Duke is going to be crucial. Right, very quickly, all listening up, this is important. We've got information that she went to the scene, she's putting herself there. I won't go into detail about all the movement. She goes there in a black Nissan Duke with black leather seats. She doesn't know the registration number. She's with Johnny Don, who goes in. She's also with somebody called Simon, but on the basis of what we know now, he's going to have to come in. Has he been spoken to or anything?
Go into the flat now.
He could be in there. Be careful then, because he's.
That's why Mike's going in with the TST.
And when I say that's what when I say he, I mean Don.
Police believe the owner of the Nissan Duke could be the third suspect.
Is anyone else in there? No.
Someone else outside?
Nobody in there. What's your name, Simon?
Nothing on you at all, you shouldn't have, yeah?
No.
All right, there's information that links you to the murder of John Williams. I know arrested you on suspicion of that murder. You don't have to say anything, but in my defence, you don't mention when questioned, so there's no way to rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given evidence. Do you want to make a reply to that?
No.
Okay.
It's yours?
Okay.
The flats are clear now with no sign of Dom being present. The CSIs are going to go into the flat and hopefully we might get some crucial evidence.
Blue nylon cord.
In number 4 is a lightish green holdall. Inside that is blue twined rope, empty baggies, a black leather wallet, and a yellow and black plastic JD Sports bag.
JD Sports bag, black and yellow, yeah?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
All right. That's the
Excellent.
latest update.
South Wales Police are hunting the killer of pensioner Jack Williams. The main suspect, Jonathan Don, is on the run.
We are dealing with a very, very violent individual who has got no money, is off drugs.
Everyone's talking in the community about Dunn, essentially. That's the feedback I'm starting to get, and certainly I think on social media there's talk about him.
We've had last night's intel, which is the 12 bore he's trying to source, and then we've had this morning's intel about the handgun, which he's potentially trying to source.
Second left off Fairwood Road, Rich, coming up the hill from the mini roundabout. It looks like a lot of flats.
There are firearms policies in place now. If cornered, you know, he could well come out potentially with weapons. Really speaking, officer safety is paramount, and also the public safety is paramount. We've got to get this dangerous individual off the streets before he reoffends.
Don's associates, Gemma Owen and Simon Cairns, are denying involvement in the murder. They say they only went to Jack's house to buy cannabis. But the Crown Prosecution Service believe there's enough evidence to charge them.
You're charged with, between the 28th of March 2018 and 1st of April 2018.
At Swansea and the City and County of Swansea murdered John Williams. This is contrary to common law.
Another critical stage. I know we've had a lot of leads that have proved a little bit, well, not as positive as we hoped. We've just missed him here and there. We've got another lead now that he's held up, well, he's at an address in the Mumbles area of Swansea. We've got armed response en route. We need to contain that area, assess it.
To the lights over the bridge.
So fingers crossed, we're going to get him.
Police! Do exactly as I say, no harm will come to you! All peace! Anyone in here think make yourself known? I can see you in the corner. You are gonna have to come out. Do as I say, no harm will come to you. There's pointless laying there. We've been here long enough. You need to show me your hands. Show me you have no weapons on you. Do you understand? We are armed police. What's your name?
Jonathan Don.
Jonathan. Listen to me now, okay?
Yeah, I'm not going to mess about.
Listen to me now. There's a lot of us here, armed police. We don't want to hurt you. We don't want you to hurt us. Do exactly what we say. You make your way to me. There are a number of items up here. If you make a move for them, it'll be taken as a threat and you will be dealt with appropriately. Do you understand?
Yeah, we're not messing about.
Come down now. Keep your hands in plain sight.
Feet first, pal.
Feet first now.
Nice and slow. Slower. Come down one more step.
Another one slowly. Put your hands on the ladder. Hold the ladder. Another step slow. Another step slow. Stop there. Stop there. Put your hands behind your back. Katherine. Yeah.
Confirm you, Jonathan.
Confirm your name.
Lock on.
Jonathan Don, yeah, confirmed.
Yes, yes. It's counting quarter.
Oh, amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, just where we've got him. So.
You alright? Yeah, confirmation. Subject Jonathan Don's been located in the Arctic space. He's been detained and is in the process of being arrested on suspicion of the murder. Yeah, that's right. Fantastic result.
Yeah, fantastic job, mate. Really appreciate it. Sterling effort, as always, Jonesy. Love you loads. Ta-da, ta-da. On jobs like this, you build it up so much, and it's firstly a relief. I'll be chuffed when he's charged, and then I'll be even more chuffed if we get a conviction. At the minute now, it's, well, yeah, I'm relieved that we've got him. Now we've got him.
Productive day yesterday. Obviously, our main target for the last 3 or 4 days has been to locate and arrest Jonathan Don. We've got 3 suspects, but Jonathan Don is the individual that we think is the person who's gone into the address first. We believe is the individual that has caused the violence towards Jack. The focus for today is the interviews.
You ready?
Let's go. Right, Jonathan. You are here because you have been arrested on suspicion of the murder of John Williams. Are you responsible for the murder of John Williams?
No problem.
Tell me everything about what happened when you went to Jack's house at 11:30 p.m. on Thursday the 29th of March 2018.
No problem. We've had some great progress in relation to CCTV. You don't see it's him when he gets out of the vehicle, but he goes into the block of flats. Got a clear shot just for an instant, and one that's good enough to, for me, it clearly identifies that it's Don. That's it. Look at that, you little beauty. Good result. He knows the camera's there and his hood up. Yeah. But he's just a little bit too late.
Yeah, I was going to say, second too late.
You can see him looking at the camera. Straight away he's over.
And hood goes up.
Look at it, a nice one in the bag there as well as he's going round.
This is absolute gold, isn't it? Absolute. This is unbelievable.
With CCTV showing Don's face moments after the murder, this evidence could be critical.
Intel is building, the phone work is ongoing, and I think we're going to hit the ground running tomorrow and carry on with the interviews, and hopefully by the end of the day, if all goes well, we'll be looking for a charging decision in relation to him, a charge for murder.
Okay, prior to coming into interview, we were given a prepared statement from yourself, which I'm now going to read out. Prepared statement of Jonathan Don. I wish to say the following in relation to the murder of John Williams. 1. I can categorically say that I did not cause the injuries to the deceased John Williams. 2. I am not responsible for the murder. It's signed with date 9th of the 4th, 18. Can you just confirm that this is a copy of the prepared statement that you gave?
Yep.
Can you just confirm that that's your signature?
That's my signature.
Okay.
We've asked questions around all of that, but we still have to go in and ask the questions that we've
This doesn't
prepared
satisfy
for.
RV Knight. There's no detail in it.
No.
And it hasn't accounted for any of the questions we've asked him.
With any murder, the body is a scene because there's been contact there with the assailant. We've had more detailed report on the injuries to Jack Williams. He has significant cuts and large areas of bruising over his face, head and neck, and a fracture to his voice box. He also has large bruises over his hands, arms, shoulders and legs and back. Suggesting, a very nasty assault by kicking and beating.
So far, he's given us no comment to every single question we put to him. This is quite probably the last interview we'll do with him regarding the murder. I'd be incredibly surprised if he says anything other than no comment. The weight of the evidence against him at this time is so heavy that he just won't want to try and work out any route around it at this moment in time. Whether he comes up with something different at court, I don't know. John was left lying on the floor with his hands bound behind his back. Even after the severe beating that he endured, if he was to stand any chance of survival, he wouldn't have been able to help himself because his hands were still bound. Why was he left with his hands still tied behind his back?
This may be the last opportunity you have in the interview process to give any sort of explanation, alibi, any defence whatsoever.
My statement.
Okay, no, I appreciate that, John. I'm just saying, is there, before we conclude this interview, is there anything at all you wish to say to us about this incident? Okay.
Jonathan Don, you're being charged with the offence that between the 28th of March 2018 and the 1st of April 2018 at 112 Pentraqueith Road in Pentraqueith, Swansea, jointly with Gemma Owen and Simon Cairns, you murdered John Williams. This is contrary to common law. Do you wish to say anything? No.
Not an ounce of remorse was shown throughout the investigation or during the court proceedings by Don. I am pleased the jury has found Don guilty of murder and of robbery.
Jack was a generous and caring person who will be dearly missed by everybody who knew him. He worked hard all his adult life and passed his knowledge and skills to many. This tragedy has left his family devastated, and we will never fully get over the loss of our brother and friend.
The fact that we were able to have Don convicted of murder, I think if you look at the life sentence with a minimum of 31 years, that sends the right message. He was prepared to commit offences and go to any lengths, as we've seen now, to obtain money and drugs. It was his lifestyle. He would have continued to be a very dangerous offender.
I'm angry. I'm really, really angry.
If he wasn't out, then he wouldn't have been able to do that to my uncle. And he'd still be here. He didn't want someone to break into his home or get into his home and do that to him. He didn't want to die then.
He was such a big part of my life. We worked together for over 20 years. He was my best friend, he was my confidant. The old saying is you don't realise what you've got until it's gone, and that is very true. He's always in my mind and in my heart.
I've been up to the grave a few times on my own and placed flowers. But I think it's going to take a very long time to be able to fully try and move on.